good YouTube? It's your boy David with Speed and Things, and since the last video I received a lot of parts for this 1000 horsepower build, and so I'm going to be showing you the parts that I'll be using. I'm going to start off with the fuel components that will support 1000 horsepower or 50 psi with the Super 99 turbo. So starting with the injectors, I got the FIC 2150cc injectors. I also got it with the plug-and-play adapters, so that way I don't have to worry about wiring any of that stuff in. If you get this from STM, these come for free. Now going from stock injectors to these, alright, we're going from low impedance to high impedance, so that requires you to relate the factory resistor, and I went ahead and bought the FIC. I mean, you don't need to, but you can make one. I just decided to go ahead and buy it to make things easier. For fuel pumps, I have two Walbro 450 liter per hour pumps, and to install that I got the install kits with those, so the clamps, hose, sock, and wiring. Now the one thing that I wanted to do, since I'll be modifying the stock fuel housing or fuel pump housing, is this bulkhead fitting here that allows you to run the wires cleanly through the bulkhead of the fuel pump housing. The pumps and injectors alone aren't enough to flow enough for 50 psi, so I went ahead and picked up this fill rail from STM. It does flow -8, and so for the return I got -6 lines going all the way to the tank, and then for the feed going from the dual 450 Walbros out of the tank into the fuel rail is going to be all -8. In that feed line we do have a Weldon 10 micron fuel filter, and then the fuel pressure is going to be regulated by this standard Fuel Lab regulator. For the drivetrain, nothing special. This is just a competition twin disc clutch. It is a push style that utilizes this contraption for a pull to push conversion. I won't be using this. I will be using the Quartermaster hydraulic push bearing. I think it cleans up the engine bay, and I like pretty much the look of it a lot better than this thing sitting in there. So that should definitely hold, you know, around 750 plus torque, but I am not planning on making that much, so this should definitely do the job. Now in my last Evo I had a twin disc exiting, and that clutch failed at about 5,000 miles or so, and I think that was primarily due to the fact that the clutch master cylinder was pretty much on its way out, so it wasn't giving as much pressure as it could, so the clutch died prematurely. So to make sure that I give the most life as possible, I went ahead and picked this up just in case. Now to install the Quartermaster bearing, I went ahead and got this line with the -3 adapter to make it nice and neat in the engine bay. And then to improve the feel of the shifts, I went ahead and got the torque solution. This is the under the hood bushings, and this is the in-cabin bushings that go around the shifter. Now if you're going from a pull to push clutch in the Evo, you do not want to overextend the throw of that bearing, and so you need to go ahead and install some sort of clutch stop, excuse me, pedal stop. And I went ahead and got the Tilton pedal stop that screws into the stud right underneath the clutch pedal. Moving on to this table, we have the components for the motor. I have a gasket set. Pretty much if you're going to be rebuilding a motor, that's something that you should get. So it has all the gaskets and everything that you're going to need. I have everything to do a timing belt change, so I got the tensioner, new pulleys and everything for that. A new OEM oil pump or front case. For the head, I do have cams in there already, but I know that for this particular setup, I'm gonna go ahead and, to get the most out, I'm gonna go ahead and run these GSC S3 cams, which are in the box. I'm not gonna go ahead and take those out. And to support 50 psi, I went ahead based on Kurt Brown's recommendations were the Kigley race valve springs and retainers. So these are Beehive, they aren't dual, but these should get the job done. So it does say that it's rated for, I think it was like 45 plus psi or so. I didn't want to run those race only versions just because I hear they are fairly harsh. Now, for head studs, I went ahead and got the L19s. On my previous build, I ran the 625s, but I think for this one, the L19 should be just fine. I do plan on changing the oil quite a bit, especially after I do the break-in, a couple cycles of E85. So I picked up a bunch of OEM filters. I got a anodized black tile blow-off valve. That's the Tile Q 50 mil version. And then just to help with that crankcase pressure, I got the STM 3-port catch can that mounts to the transmission. Had that on my last car. I enjoyed pretty much the location and the look of it. So it's pretty much out of the way essentially and cleans up the engine bay. Got this dipstick holder as well. Just another preventative or measure just in case we do build up pressure. But I'm pretty sure with the catch can we should be okay. Essentially what this does once it's mounted, keeps the dipstick from popping out under high boost pressures. I haven't talked about the motor setup yet. I'll say that for another video when I actually do get the motor. But the head gasket that I'm using is this Cometic 87 mil bore gasket. I have a 2003 Outlander water pump and some AEM, again, anodized black to go with the theme, adjustable cam gears. So judging by those three components, you might be able to guess which motor I'm going to be running. But like I said, when I do get the motor, I'll save that and show you in another video. Over here, I have the STM mini battery kit in brushed aluminum, pretty much to match the catch can. Now, if you're going to be running any nice intercooler piping, or if you want some nice routing, you either have to relocate the battery or run a mini battery kit. So no surprise, I got the STM one. Really nice piece, and I'll do like an install video once I get around to that. Got some NGK spark plugs. Those should play well with the ignition system that I'll be getting. It is ordered and on its way. And like the motor, I will install that once, or I'll show you guys that once I receive that. This bracket right here is to actually install one of the pieces for the ignition kit. Now, to bring everything together, to tune for the big boost, to tune for the fuel, I got the AEM Infinity right here, and the install kit for an Evo 8 right there. So there's really nothing much to it. It's just those pieces. You remove your factory ECU and put these two components in its place, and you now have new engine management. So for this setup to all come together, got an AEM 5-bar map sensor. Alright, I'll be taking out the map sensor, running map, and in order to run that cleanly, I got this English Racing adapter kit so that it goes into the factory wiring harness, and then a GM air intake temperature sensor. And for some reason, I think STM sent me a 4-bar map. Not too sure why. I'm pretty sure I didn't order that, but I'll have to check my receipts later. And then for boost control, I've ran this on pretty much all my Evos in the past. It's the Grimspeed 3-port boost controller. I mean, I could have got the AEM max solenoid, but this one is already plug and play style, so I went with the Grimspeed. And then to give a quick view of what's going on with the motor, I think I got the most important gauges that you could get, and that's the air fuel from AEM and the boost gauge. So this boost gauge right here runs all the way up to 60 psi. Definitely not going to be seeing that high a boost, you know, 50 plus, but not 60. And then this particular set of gauges is the X series. So this one has the ability to run flex fuel, content analyzing right there in the center. And to cleanly mount this, I got this ATI steering column 2-pod mount. Now the good thing about this one compared to the Autometer is that this one actually bolts in to the steering column, whereas the Autometer is double-sided tape. So this one's a lot cleaner and it has the ability to adjust. So with the Autometer, I think there was issues with, you know, visibility on the gauges. With this one, it's a little bit better. All right, so there you have it. Those are the supporting mods for this 1,000 horsepower Evo build. The major things that I'm waiting on are obviously the engine and the turbo kit. Now, as I get these parts installed, I'll try to do some install videos. That way I could share as much information as possible. Comment down below if you know what engine I'm going to be putting into the Evo. And as always, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe if you're not already. Peace.